Um, as you know, the Peppermint runs xfce4 terminal as a default terminal. So if you can go ahead and I'll just start the terminal here. And xfce4 terminal, however, it does have some options that's helpful. Let's take a look. For terminal, and then we go to help, and then we can go ahead and try to enlarge it. So one of the command that we'll be using to place the terminal in a particular area of the display is geometry. So if we look at the xrender, if we look at the geometry of my display here, it's 1360 by 768 pixels. So for me, if I want to place a xfce terminal down here every time I want a terminal launched, I prefer to have it down here because of you may be familiar with the drop down xfce terminal where it's shown here, but usually there are a lot of things going on. Now when I'm working, it's much more away from the action as if it were if I have the terminal down here. I find it, at least for me, it's more helpful. Um, so let me just go ahead and start the terminal again, and I call it the Lazarus terminal because Lazarus is I think it was a Greek god that rose from the dead after death, 4 days after dying. So it just the it has some similarity in that you'll see the terminal down here. So let's go ahead and I want to first what I prefer to do is just modify these here unnecessary headers and so on. So we can go ahead and right click on here in the terminal and go to preferences, and then general. It's not here, but the main tab is under appearance. What I prefer to is not have the display menu on the new Windows display toolbar. I also do not want the display, and furthermore I don't want the borders around the windows, and that's going to look significantly different. And the other options, I think we can go ahead and just leave it default pretty much, and then let's go ahead and close it again, usually xit, and then we'll start the terminal again. And now you can see that terminal has a no border and no header. So this is what I prefer, and I have a little cheat sheet here, cheat options. So let me just copy this, and we'll go ahead and place it here. And if I do that, it's gonna state a terminal hopefully down here, and you may have to play around with these numbers. So the 90 here refers to the size of the character of the window that you want. So, and then plus 234 refers to left upper quadrant of the display by pixels. The first is 234 here is that 234 pixels this way, and then 550 pixels vertically down. So it places that places the terminal in the correct way, at least for me. So let me just put this out of the way. So when I go ahead and use these numbers for my display, this is exactly what I want. So, and once you have the numbers all figured out, what you can do is go into the keyboard section here, and then go to the application shortcuts, and then add here, and then command that we will use is the xfce4. So this, again, your numbers may differ, and then we'll go ahead and give it an OK, and we'll assign a terminal shortcut. So for me is super T, and then we'll close, and we'll close this again, and now from then on we'll give it a super and T, and now we have it here showing up. So that's how you can place, and whenever you want the terminal to show up here, you can just go ahead and use the super T as we just demonstrated. So if you just go ahead and just use without the geometry option, you get a default elsewhere. So I think that when I first installed Peppermint, it tended to place the terminal up here. So, but this is where I prefer, and I like to call this a Lazarus terminal because of the location of the center bottom. I hope you find it helpful and interesting. Thanks.